We've come to Hong Kong to meet Blitzchung, a pro Hearthstone player who last year found himself making headlines around the world as he donned a pair of goggles and a gas mask during a post-match interview. Liberate Hong Kong, the revolution of our times. Those words have echoed throughout this region over the last year as its citizens have come out in huge numbers to protest legislation that could have seen them be extradited to China for crimes committed on the mainland. In the eyes of many Hong Kongers, this extradition bill was seen as a massive threat to their own civil liberties, but it also represented something even greater. Yet another blow to the autonomy that Hong Kong is meant to have within China. And millions of people have taken to the streets to make their voices heard on this, risking so much in the process. There have now been thousands of reported injuries, with the police force being accused of increasingly egregious brutality during their clashes with the protesters. At the time of recording this video, at least 2 people have died while caught up in the violence. And so here we are with Blitzchung, a 21-year-old student turned pro Hearthstone player who chose to voice his support for these demonstrations. And while it worked, it became quickly one of the biggest stories in video games of 2019, although, well, not quite. It wasn't so much the statement from Blitzchung that made the headlines, but rather the response from Blizzard Entertainment, the creators of Hearthstone. They banned Blitzchung from the tournament, effective immediately. They withheld his prize money and they suspended him from playing Hearthstone professionally in any capacity for the next 12 months. On top of that, Blizzard stated that it would no longer be working with either of the 2 casters who'd been interviewing him at the time. For decades now, Blizzard has been marketing itself as something other than just another large video games corporation. Its core values have included things like think globally, lead responsibly, and perhaps most damning of all, every voice matters. And here it was, silencing one of its own for supporting the Hong Kong movement. The backlash came quickly. Activision Blizzard, which is partially owned by a Chinese conglomerate called Tencent, was accused of putting its business interests in China ahead of doing the right thing. Players began to boycott the company's games, Blizzard employees staged a walkout, top US politicians became involved, there were protests outside that year's BlizzCon. The message was loud and clear. Shame on Blizzard! Blizzard had let down its community. Now, Blitzchung's suspension was eventually halved from 12 months to 6 months and his prize money reinstated, with the company apologising for having acted too quickly, although it continues to claim that its relationship with China had no influence over the decision, and in fact, it was about making sure that official broadcasts stay focused on the games themselves. Blizzard's critics remain somewhat skeptical on that point. As for Blitzchung, he's since signed with a new team, Tempo Storm, and is preparing to return to the world of professional Hearthstone in just a few months' time. But how does he feel about all of what happened, and would he do it all again, knowing what the consequences might be? Well, that's what we'd like to find out. In fact, we're going to meet him in this very park in just a few minutes' time. Hello! How's it going? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hey. We'd met Blitz at Victoria Park on the north side of Hong Kong Island, and it's a beautiful place, even home to its own inflatable palace at the moment, which I thought was a nice touch. But Hong Kongers don't just come here to enjoy the inflatables. Last year, hundreds of thousands of citizens gathered here in this park as part of the protest, defying police orders to demonstrate. And so it feels a suitable place to ask Blitzchung about his choice to speak out. Did you decide on the day that, like, hey, I'm going to use this interview to say something, or did you know like weeks beforehand, or?
No, I just decide on that day.
On that day, right?
Yeah,
okay.
it's something just came up on my mind, and then yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Right, and what was it that led to that, you think?
That day is like it's like a weekend, and our protest, our major protest usually just goes on the weekend. So you know when so many people are protesting out there, and I just sat there and then play my tournaments, I just feel kind of bad and I want to do something.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to ignore what's going on.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, gaming is just part of my life, but I want to live in this place like for the rest of my life. I really love this place. So I mean, there's something more important than my career, I would say.
Yeah, I see. I feel like a lot of people are making that decision in Hong Kong right now. Yeah. You took some time off university after the suspension, right? Was that because you were just like you were struggling with it? Like there was a lot going on.
Yeah, just
like personally.
Like way too much going on, and I just think I couldn't handle that much, and I decided to just skip my school for a semester
and just look after yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it about the situation that you found stressful? Was it you might not be able to play Hearthstone anymore, or was it the fact that your name was everywhere in headlines, or?
I think it's more about that me being at the spotlight. That's really stressful to me. Like, and also you know there are 2 casters involved in the incident, and I was really worried about them as well. But I traveled to Taiwan, like in November.
Oh, okay, to meet them.
Yeah, to meet them and for some other gaming activities.
Right. Okay.
And I meet them. I talk with them, and then I just felt better afterwards. One of the casters, he worried more about me than himself.
Oh, wow.
But he just told me that everything is okay, and you just need to, worry about yourself.
Wow.
and everything's here in Hong Kong. And I was, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you've had some good people around you.
Really good people.
Yeah.
Really good people.
But was it a surprise to you how much public attention it ended up getting?
Yeah, I think no one would have expected that.
Yeah.
But my life during that time was basically I wake up and then I read through all the messages.
Right.
And then I go to bed again
Yeah.
because they're way too much.
Yeah, jeez. What was it like explaining all of that to like people in Hong Kong that don't really get esports as a whole?
There are, way too much other things to care about in Hong Kong right now.
Yeah.
So it's a really small thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like my thing was just a very small thing. That it's just a much bigger thing in the Western, I believe.
Right. Okay. How do you feel about the response from Blizzard? The way in which you were punished. How did it make you feel?
A bit disappointed. But
In Blizzard.
yeah, a bit disappointed in Blizzard. But I mean, it's something I can understand. Like I mean to me, Blizzard is like what Hong Kong's like to me right now. Like maybe it's getting worse, but do I hate it? No, I don't hate it.
Have they apologized to you at all? About what happened?
You mean personally?
Yeah.
No, not really. Just through the public.
Yeah. Would you have appreciated someone getting in touch to say like, hey, we're sorry, we messed up here?
No, I mean I don't need that kind of stuff.
Right.
Just action speaks louder than words.
Right. And are you happy with how it's all worked out now, with like the suspension being halved and you keeping your prize money?
Yeah.
Do you think that feels fair or not?
Kind of fair, but I'll be more happy if they change their decision on the 2 casters.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because they are still suspended as well.
Yeah, they're still suspended.
I think it says something about Blitzchung that when I asked him this question, I'd expected him to talk about the remaining suspension he was facing and not the fate of the 2 casters instead. Anyway, at this point we decided to leave the park and board something called the Peak Tram, which would take us up to appreciate what must be one of the most incredible sights in all of Hong Kong.
I mean, people always say that Hong Kong is a great place to earn money, but not a great place to live.
Oh really? Is that what they say?
Yeah, but to me it's like a little bit different.
Right. Okay. Is it a good place to live, but not an easy place to make money with esports?
I mean, it's my home. You just love your home for no reason.
This is probably a big question, but why are people protesting?
Why are people protesting? For freedom. For freedom, like the things we had, the things we enjoyed in the past. Like we had the freedom of speech, freedom of demonstrating, but now everything has been changing. We're just trying to defend our rights, right?
Like I'm trying to be careful with the questions that we're asking, but do you worry about even in like even in like an interview like this, talking about that kind of thing?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, I just can't really understand. Yeah, this is not a normal thing.
Yeah.
That you shouldn't have to be worried about with things like that.
Are you worried about that with what happened during the Hearthstone interview? Like, is there part of you that worried about that having been so public?
Yeah, that thing being so public is, yeah, like that's part of where my pressure comes from.
Right.
Like not only being under the spotlight, but also like when you're more well known, you're more dangerous.
How hopeful do you feel about that changing? You know, obviously the protests are happening and people are trying to protect that freedom. Do you have much hope that they'll be successful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have much hope when you see, you know, how many people are out there trying to protest, trying to defend their right.
Yeah, you're saying that there's 7 million people in Hong Kong, right, that live here, and then for the largest protest so far, they think it was somewhere around like the 2 million mark. Wow. Yeah, I guess when you're surrounded by that many people.
Yeah, you just can't move, especially in this, you know, small city like this.
Yeah.
The roads are very narrow, and then people just.
It's hard enough on a normal day.
Yeah.
Knowing what happened afterwards, and that, you know, you were under the spotlight and you were worried about your safety and all of those kind of things. Are you still glad that you did it?
Yeah. I just never. Yeah, I'll do it even if I had a chance to go back, I would still do it.
Why?
Why? Because it's a must-do thing. Like I have to do it.
Yeah. Blitzchung will be returning to professional play come April, promising to keep any future outbursts contained to his Twitter feed rather than when in front of a camera. But should he have to make that promise? That's the question facing not just him and the wider Hearthstone community, but esports more generally. Activision Blizzard has to some extent set a precedent here, one that's quickly been followed by others in this business like Riot Games, the creators of League of Legends, which stated the following just a few days after Blitz's interview. We serve fans from many different countries and cultures, and we believe this opportunity comes with a responsibility to keep personal views on sensitive issues, political, religious, or otherwise, separate. So is that it? Is that the answer? Well, allow me to do what every mainstream journalist does at this point in a video or an article about esports and make a comparison with traditional sports. Blizzard and Riot Games can absolutely punish players who choose to speak out on their platforms, as we've seen with Blitzchung, but like so many sporting organisations have found before them, despite that possibility, there will still be people willing to take a stand for what they believe in. Why? Well, in the words of Blitzchung, sometimes it's a must-do thing. You have to do it. What an amazing trip! Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and oh dear. Skillshare is a website about getting better at things that you're not very good at, like taking care of houseplants, for example. Or if it's a little late for that, maybe it's time to watch this class about how to pick new houseplants for your home. Wow! I didn't actually buy all of these, we just moved all of the plants in our flat into one place. However, I did learn a lot watching this video by Chris Satch, a botanist who told me things like it's better to water your houseplants in the morning rather than the evening. I didn't know that. Is that one obvious? Am I an idiot? Anyway, if you hate plants, Skillshare offers a range of different classes, from video editing to productivity to game development to lots of other stuff, with a membership costing less than $10 per month. And if you'd like to take a look for yourself, use this link to nab yourself 2 months of premium membership free of charge. Oh, Peggy, you barked during my B-roll bit. Thank you for watching, and as ever, thank you to our patrons for supporting what we do. As ever, thank you so much to our patrons for making any of this possible. If you would like to support our channel and see more stories like this one, that is the very best place to do it. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.